Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Look, here's the thing, you could be a leftist and I could still tolerate you. Ideological differences, you could go as far as thinking communism is a great form of governance. If I grew up with you, if you're family, if you're a good person and you're fun to be around, I could tolerate it. You know, it kind of just is what it is. I could discuss and debate ideas with you. At the end of the day, it's your life. You can do and believe whatever you want. What I can't tolerate, however, is dishonesty, disingenuousness, operating in a fictional fairy tale world, or supporting and promoting fake news. And so I once again gotta give credit where credit is due. I don't care what side of the political spectrum you are on. I don't care what you've said in your past. If you're right, you're simply right. So I want to once again give credit to TYT's Anna Kasparian for coming out publicly and finally admitting the truth. Let me show you guys exactly what I mean by that. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so it's a very, very rare occurrence where a leftist, and especially a far leftist, comes out publicly and admits that they were wrong. Take a look at this headline. I screwed up royally. Young Turks co-host Anna Kasparian apologizes for past reporting on Rebecca Jones.
I want to correct all of those errors that we had previously reported. And I want to be clear that out of everyone who works on the main show, the only person who should be held responsible for that is me. I'm the executive producer of the show and I screwed up royally. And part of the reason why I screwed up is because I had all these biases, of course, against Ron DeSantis. And I don't really feel bad about that because I think Ron DeSantis has done some pretty terrible things in the state of Florida. But it becomes a problem when that bias blinds you to what the facts of various stories happen to be. And I should have done my due diligence. I failed to do so. And by failing to do so, I feel like I've misled the audience into thinking that Rebecca Jones is some sort of hero. Now, to be fair to myself and to be fair to other independent media sources, if you're not doing your own original reporting, you're relying on the mainstream media narrative a lot of the time. And if they're not doing their due diligence, if they're allowing their personal biases to stand in the way of actual factual reporting, well, that's unfortunately gonna trickle into the way independent news sources cover these types of stories as well. Fact of the matter is, I wanna make sure that I correct my errors, I get you guys accurate information, and I avoid helping someone who might be a grifter from fundraising off of our own audience members.
Anna Kasparian essentially spills the beans. You know, it goes beyond the whole Rebecca Jones thing. We'll probably go into more detail about some of the newest revelations involving Mrs. Rebecca Jones a little bit later, but just the core elements of her little segment there. She essentially exposes the whole leftist game. The mainstream media sets narratives, in most cases, or in many cases, false narratives, and independent leftist sources simply play the game. They follow along, they promote all these BS stories, assuming that the mainstream media did its due diligence in assuring that the information is accurate, which I mean in modern day is just a ridiculous assumption, and they simply promote it without thought, specifically because of their biases. We don't like Ron DeSantis, therefore we promote bad Ron DeSantis story. It's pretty much as simple as that. Anna Kasparian admits it. She simply says, we didn't vet the story because we don't like Ron DeSantis. Well, that's happened countless amount of times, not just with Ron DeSantis, but with Donald Trump as well and other characters. She essentially admits that the leftist hive mind is a real thing, a real phenomenon. Oh, anonymous source says this about Donald Trump. And every single leftoid simply parrots the talking point like a damn bot, like an NPC without second thought. There's no delving into the story, there's no trying to find the actual facts. It's simply promote the mainstream headline without reading the actual article. And that's why we see these leftoids constantly getting themselves in trouble. I mean, I've been reporting multiple stories every single day for years at this point. I don't think I've ever had to issue a retraction or a correction. I mean, maybe little minor stuff here and there, but I've never actually had to do that because very simply, I vet the news that I cover, and I feel like most conservatives do. Conservatives aren't sure about something, they don't report on it as if it's a fact. You tend to hear words like unconfirmed report or allegedly, and that's just basic journalist ethics. Frankly, it goes beyond journalism ethics, it's just basic ethics. And it's something that frankly we have not seen on the left side. People say, oh, but both sides. Again, it doesn't exist, at least not in the same way, on both sides of the political spectrum when it comes to news coverage. The left feels as though they have a shield. Fact checkers don't come after them, and when they do, it's generally not a big story, or they fact check in such a disingenuous manner. It hasn't been totally confirmed that Jussie Smollett is a liar and perpetrated a terrible hate hoax. You even had some leftoids saying, well, it was an act of theater. He was simply creating this event to draw attention to the awful Trump regime and the rise in hate crimes. I mean, it's nothing but copium, lies, and BS attempts to justify. We see it over and over again, and that's why these leftoids are always apologizing. They get in these ridiculous marriages. You know, they got into this activist marriage with Jussie Smollett. Oh, he's a victim. They didn't vet any of the information. They simply bought the narrative without question and then ended up looking like complete fools. They did the exact same thing with Michael Avenatti. I mean, for Pete's sakes, Brian Stelter was promoting Michael Avenatti as a potential Democrat presidential candidate. I mean, the examples are endless. That phenomenon simply does not exist on the right wing, and even Ana Kasparian seems to be alluding to that fact. They control culture, they control the flow of information, they control the media, and they use and abuse that power to promote narratives ahead of actual solid information. They know that they control the flow of information, therefore they can say and do whatever they want. When the Hunter Biden laptop revelation pops up in the news cycle, they could simply just say all the hallmarks of Russian disinformation, essentially without consequence. Then, of course, once again, a year, 2 years later, in my opinion, instantly, I mean, right after the fact, they end up looking like fools with egg on their face. And in this case, they align themselves with Rebecca Jones, a low-level staffer who worked in the Florida government, who had no access to alter data, coming out with this bombshell story, this allegation that she was ordered by the Ron DeSantis government to alter COOF data. It almost instantly got debunked by people who had actual knowledge and actual administrative powers when it came to the data itself, yet leftoids parroted the talking point and promoted this story for months. Democrats once again got into a marriage with another grifter who's getting exposed as exactly that, a total fraud. DeSantis critic embraced by progressives created fake news website to promote herself. Then it came out that Rebecca Jones has a criminal history of theft, fraud, and even stalking previous boyfriends and posting their private information online. And the final story that has her in big trouble, we have to be really careful with this one. I can't delve into too much detail, but essentially, Rebecca Jones' son was recently arrested in Florida for making terroristic threats with intent to target a school. We'll just leave it at that. I think you guys could pretty much see the whole picture with that description. Well, Rebecca Jones went on to Twitter claiming that Ron DeSantis once again was targeting her and her family and had kidnapped her son for posting a meme in a private Snapchat. The truth eventually came out that her son had made terroristic threats targeting a school. It's the same thing over and over again. Leftoids get played. You know, someone like Rebecca Jones can grift, can run for office, can get all of these donations, all of this favorable coverage in the news. She's a Democrat hero because she came out with some ridiculous claim with no evidence whatsoever targeting Ron DeSantis, public enemy probably number 2 of the Democrat establishment. Someone can so easily grift the left because they want these juicy stories so badly. They're willing to promote them on face value without any scrutiny whatsoever because frankly, they've completely lost their mind and it's ideology above facts, above vetting, above sources, above truth. Well, good on Ana Kasparian for finally admitting the truth, for retracting her story, for admitting her own biases and the left's problem with fake news. I just hope that moving forward, she actually applies this standard to other stories and maybe even retracts some other BS fake news that she's promoted in the past instead of just trying to collect brownie points on this one because Rebecca Jones personally attacked her and not actually holding herself to this standard in general across the board. We'll have to see, but it is nice to finally put this Rebecca Jones nonsense fake news story to rest. Another garbage hit piece grift bites the dust. That's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, folks, and I'll see you on the next one.